Welcome to Parazzo Brother Gaming. Today we are reviewing all the ancient relics associated with Pael, the Flesh Man. Um, Pael the Flesh Man is an Act 2 ancient, and we're going to be tier listing these relics. The goal will be comparing them to other Pael relics. So it won't matter if these relics are really good compared to a common relic or really bad compared to other ancient relics. We're thinking you've found Pael. Which one of these should you pick? Which ones are more powerful? And I've been meaning to say this in more videos, but I think this is the most consequential single choice that you have when you're playing Slay the Spire 2 is which ancient relic to take. So we're going to help you make that decision. Or, just kind of talk with you about it because we want to hear your comments on what you think strong in the comments below. I'm Joseph.
I've decided to go in age order for these, so I'm waiting for Thomas here.
Oh, Thomas.
I'm Alex.
So we're going to start with Pael's flesh right here. So maybe he's not actually a flesh guy because only one of his relics is the flesh. Gain additional energy at the start of your third turn and every turn after that. So this is 4 turns from turn 3 on, or 4 energy from turn 3 on. Alex, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I think Pael's Flesh is really solid. The big thing to note here is it's definitely much less useful in hallway fights because they last shorter. But when you're fighting against a boss, I feel like I barely even feel the downside of not having energy for the first 2 turns. It's just like, yeah, you just start suddenly having 4 energy, and boss fights and elite fights are a lot cleaner, a lot smoother. I think it's a great relic. I feel like there might be better energy relics out there in general, including on Pael, if I remember correctly. But I think it's good. I think it's great. Even I think one thing to note as well is typically the first couple turns are the most important turns, and so not having the energy there is definitely notable. But I'd put it in A tier is where I'm leaning. But I think there's probably a lot of powerful relics here when I'm glancing through these, and so I could see myself going down to B tier to even that out.
I'm probably more of a B tier believer on this. Energy relics often have a downside, and I think the downside of not getting the energy on the most important turns, it feels pretty big to me. Also, hallway fights are often 3-4 turns, I feel like, so it does barely anything there. And I'm kind of a
Yeah.
B feeler for Pale's Flesh, though it's never bad, right? Thomas, do you have any other thoughts? You feeling B too?
That feels appropriate. We'll see where other things lay.
Okay. On Thomas, the next one is Pale's Horn. When you pick up Pale's Horn, you add 2 relax cards to your deck. These are 3 energy, gain 15 walk. Next turn, draw 2 cards and gain 2 energy. Exhaust. Upgraded, it's gain 17 block. Next turn, draw 3 cards and gain 3 energy. So you'll add 2 of these cards to your deck if you pick up Pale's Horn. What do you think of that?
I'm not actually sure I've ever picked this up. I think the issue I have with it initially is it feels like, oh, I need to block a lot this turn, pretty much skip my turn, wait for next turn. And I mean, you could do that on any turn, but I guess if you're trying to, it's definitely not like, I don't know, if someone's doing 30 damage to you, 15 damage is still a lot, or 13 or whatever it would be, or 12 with the upgrades. 13. Like, it's not like, okay, they're doing a lot of damage. I'll just wait till next turn. I'll put this down. It's, I don't like my hand. I'll put this down and hopefully have a better hand next turn. Which, I mean, you'll almost certainly have a really good hand the next turn. But then it also adds 2 cards to your deck, which is usually not preferable. But they do have card draw. So I don't know. Like I said, I've never actually taken it. I don't
What tier would you
like
put it in?
I'll put it in B as well. Below the flesh guy. Flesh.
I personally think this should be in D tier for the things that Thomas said. That 17 block isn't enough to just skip your turn, and the problem is that the cards cost 3. I've had it be good for me only when I'm running extra energy via cards and things. And so if you have extra energy, it's really powerful effect, but I can't find the ability to spend my entire turn to play the relax card. I think it's D tier.
Yeah, I was leaning towards C tier. I think both of you hit on a lot of good points. Because on paper, if it makes your turn so incredibly powerful. When you gain 2 energy, it's like the card costs 1, but it's on the next turn. And since it doesn't block you for full, it rarely blocks you for full. The first time you play it out, it just feels really weak. It leads into a really good turn where I often play the second relax on my second turn after I played my first relax, which leads into another great turn. And so they can hit into each other back to back like that, which feels really nice. But yeah, it feels really hard to skip my turn and only gain 15 or 17 block. That feels like a really hard ask. It leads to really good turns though. And if you do have other setup pieces like Joseph referenced of more energy production to make this easier to play, it can be really strong. But yeah, overall, I'm not a big fan. I was leaning towards C tier, but I could definitely see this being a D tier as well. Yeah.
Tom said B, so that makes me think we're averaging towards the C tier right now.
But I've never taken it either. So D tier might be fine.
I'm looking through this list and I'm trying to find one I'm going to think is worse.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I
I can't.
can. Yeah.
So I think we should probably just keep it in D tier.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm. Pael's Tears. If you end your turn with unspent energy, gain an additional 2 energy next turn. So basically, this is an energy relic, and it says if you spend 2 energy on your first turn, you're able to spend 4 on every turn after that. Right? You'll have 5 energy. You'll spend 4. You'll have 1 unspent. But it's even more flexible than that. And because anytime you need all 5, you can spend all 5. If on the first turn you want to spend all 3 because you've got a power or you really need to do something, you can do that and then spend 2 on the next turn. I think it's pretty good. I honestly think, but my issue here is I'm pretty sure it's very good. Maybe low A tier is my thinking, but I haven't played with it much because sometimes I'm a lazy boy when I play Slay Spire 2. And managing that energy is just a little bit more than I usually think about. I don't pick up Pael's Flesh and I just go, use it all, use it all, use it all. But here, it's like, okay, I've got to save 1, but maybe this turn it's worth it to spend it all, but maybe I don't want to do that because in my future turns, I'm going to need 4 because I'm going to have this power come up. It's a little bit more skill testing than several of the other relics, but I think it's very powerful.
Yeah, I would probably agree with A tier. I think obviously same notable downside to Pael's Flesh is that it's your first turn that it's asking you commonly. Of course, it's flexible, but to get the most energy out of the relic, it would be your first turn that you go down 1 energy, and that's the most important turn in the combat. And so that's a little awkward. It feels quite awkward to only use 2 energy on your first turn. That being said, I would agree. I think it just gives you a lot of energy. It strikes up a turn earlier than Pael's Flesh. I don't know. It's weird, but I think because if you think about the amount of energy you're gaining, the Pael's Flesh and Pael's Tears are actually equivalent in terms of Pael's Tears you give up 1 and then you get 1 extra for the remaining. Pael's Flesh you give up
You don't give
2,
up any.
but you don't give up 1, right? It's you give up 0, 0. You just don't gain. Anyway, point being, those feel, but because of the flexibility on specific turns, you can use 5 energy. I feel like that's what makes Tears a tier above Flesh. Even though energy-wise they seem roughly equivalent, it's the flexibility that comes from Tears that makes it a tier above.
That makes sense to me. You good with that, Thomas?
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of skill that could be used on this. Like if you're not a lazy boy or something. But like, I definitely feel like I pick it up, and then I'm like, I don't think I'm using this quite right. But yeah, I'm okay with that. I like your guys' reasons.
Alex, Pael's Wing. You may sacrifice card rewards to Pael. Every 2 sacrifices, obtain a relic.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't my turn. I feel like this one's very interesting and one of the few that I don't have like a strong feel for because I've come across this sometimes when I already have most of the working pieces in my deck and I'm just like, well, this is fantastic. I could just skip every single card reward and gain so many relics and it just is really good. And then other times I'm like, yeah, but I kind of need the card rewards. I don't know if I can give up that many and it feels much, much worse then, which is good that it's weaker and sometimes and stronger at other times. That's how these relics generally should be. But it also makes I feel like I haven't gotten a good handle on its power because of that fact. And so honestly, I don't know. If you have a good deck, you can just skip. I mean, you skip a lot of card rewards anyway. And so the fact that you get some relics out of this, that's great. One notable thing is that it does not give you upfront power, which is a big downside compared to a lot of these others. That being said, my instincts landed somewhere in the middle around B tier. I prefer Flesh over it, but I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts.
I like small decks, so I love getting rewarded for skipping the card rewards I already wanted to skip. So I'm probably an A tier on this. So I'm not sure I've really seen that power. I just enjoy that I'm getting rewarded for playing the way I want to play. Right? The non immediate power is a thing, but you usually have at least 1 extra relic this has gotten you by the time you see an elite. So it's not too bad. Sometimes these things it'll take a while. Like there's certain ones that won't give you extra power until you beat an elite, right? But this you can get that extra power on hallways.
Like
But
how many hallways do you have to skip before it equates into Flesh? Like how many relics are we talking about here before Flesh is equivalent to it? I feel like 1 relic is just like barely a power boost.
Yeah, I mean probably
3?
Probably 3.
Yeah.
2 to 3, right?
2.5? Yeah, somewhere around
Two and a
there.
half ish is probably right. If you get the right ones, 2 is definitely stronger.
Yeah.
If you get the wrong ones, it might take 4, but
Yeah.
3-ish, right? Which is almost a whole act of card rewards, right? So that does make me think B is probably right, or C. That made me think C, and I don't like that because I like. Thomas, you feeling B? We good with B?
I mean, I kind of agree with Alex that if you've already have, or like, I'll add one more thing to what Alex had said. Is if you feel like you already have a good deck or you know where your deck is going by the end of the first act, then this is great because Like, even if you don't have it completely filled out, if you know, okay, I want to do a Shiv deck or whatever, you know which cards you need to grab. And so you're going to grab a lot less card rewards. But I'm going to go.
If Thomas is Thomas leaving to take care of a child?
Yeah.
We'll leave it there and be. I want it higher, but this conversation has convinced me it's not as good as I like it.
I, I don't know. Like you can win runs by just having a bajillion relics, and this allows you to do that. So like,
Right.
yeah, but I don't know. I don't know.
And sometimes events will give you card rewards and stuff, and so that's extra good then, right?
Combine this with like prayer wheel. I haven't actually done that before. Now I want that combo. Get double the card rewards and then just skip all of them. Get one relic per combat. That sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome. I would love getting relics from hallway fights
Yeah.
and 2 relics from elites, right? It's kind of great, but also, it's work to get there, right?
Yeah, I would say I prefer flesh, maybe even a tier above. But I'm fine with it in B tier. Whatever
No,
you
I
feel,
definitely
Joseph. You have control over the cursor, and I'm giving you control over the cursor.
Pael's Claw. I'll do this one since Thomas is gone. Pawn to pick up, enchant all defends with Goopy. So when it's enchanted with the Goopy, every defend becomes a genetic algorithm. When you play it, it exhausts and it increases the amount it blocks by 1.
I mean, yeah, like 1/3 the scaling of a genetic algorithm, but you know.
Yeah, but they're all genetic algorithms. See, I've played with this twice in the past week and had it work. By the end, if you're able to do that side quest of playing all your defense, you're getting like 112 cards, which are nice. And the fact that the exhaust is probably also nice, right? That's an upgrade. Means your defense disappear. You don't have to think about them the second trip to your deck. I feel like this might secretly be really good, like high A
I mean,
tier.
by the end of the first act or the second act, because by the end of the game, it can definitely be higher than 12. I think you go through more than 7 combats in 2 acts for sure.
I'm trying to think what my ones were. I had one that was 12, but I might have had another that was like 16 or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, like all my brain says this is A tier, but the way I feel about it in my heart says this is C tier, a tier below.
It's not C tier,
You
bro.
guys.
It's not C
So my
tier.
brain tells me, no, Joseph, you're just dumb. That is like A tier.
I think it's S tier. I mean, I could see A tier, but like I was leaning towards S tier because you get to effectively remove all your defense and make them good cards. Like if the only thing you have to worry about this is if in the upcoming combats the defense were all your defense and you have like no other defense cards, you can accidentally run out of defense in the fight and then just die. And so you want to be a little bit wary about that. But beyond that, you're making these defense just suddenly become absurd cards where you can just like defend for 1 mana, defend 11, and then like play your 2-cost attack, or I don't know. It just gives you so much flexibility, and then you don't have to redraw that defend. A defend like a really bad card is now this 1 mana defend 11 that exhausts itself, remaining you with your like best cards in your deck. I think it's like really really strong. A tier minimum.
I thought you loved defense, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I like them more than strikes.
He likes them more when they're goopy.
I do like them more when they're goopy.
I guess I'm scared of this one because I'm afraid to get rid of my defense. I don't want to have no defense. But maybe that just means I need to pick up more defense cards. Yeah, I mean that's my only thing on this one.
It's
Otherwise,
funny
it's pretty cool.
that's the one issue with it, because my actual issue has been, do I have the energy and a deck good enough to start doing that side quest of playing every defend, every combat? Because I have found that if my deck isn't good enough, these guys don't start scaling, and then it's really hard to say, hey, I'm going to play this defend for 5 defense, when before I got them goopy, I wasn't playing them, right? And so now I've got to try to play them, and they become good in just a bit, right? They get good, but my issue has been trying, not the last couple times I've used it, but my first couple times having them goopy has just been trying to get it all down, and have that energy. We'll put them in the top of A tier. People feel good about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a S tier believer, I think, the more we talk about it, but I'm okay with A tier as well. Top of A tier.
Thomas, if you're an S tier believer, it goes up there.
I think when I first saw it, I was, but then I was scared of it. But I also feel like the first time I ever played it, it didn't exhaust, and Alex said that that's not true. But I say my
Yeah, in
memory is
fact,
that it did not
Goopy
exhaust.
didn't make your defend exhaust, so you could just play it as many times as you want in a combat. Yeah, that never existed, Thomas. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell your past memories.
What about the event that lets you take exhaust off a card?
Oh yeah.
That
Oh
would
yeah.
be insane.
Yeah, you do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Just
I mean,
in one combat, scale it to 100, and then take it into the final boss.
Yeah. Okay. I would prefer A, I think, just because it scares me, and I haven't used it as much. But like, I like the idea of it. Yeah.
Thomas, Pael's Tooth. Upon pickup, remove 5 cards from your deck. After each combat, randomly add 1 back, upgraded.
I've done this once, I think, and I found it annoying because I wanted my cards. Like, obviously, it's nice to have them given back to you, but if I don't know, the ones you want upgraded might be the ones that your deck depends on. So really, like, would this be best put on a bunch of defense? Like just a couple defense, couple strikes, just make your deck generally better, and then that's not very good. But anyways, I'm just saying it's hard to want to take out the best cards of your deck, because then you have a hard time in the rooms that you're trying to get through so you can get it back. I personally don't like this very much. I'd say C or E. C. Sure.
Yeah, I think the times I have felt like this is the most broken is when I have specifically picked up a couple cards because I want to build around them, but I haven't felt the build around pieces. And so the fact that it's removed from my deck is like great, but only temporarily, which is even better because they were bad in my deck, but then I'm gonna, in the following combats, find the combo pieces, and then they come back upgraded. So now they're suddenly like really, really strong. If you can find that scenario, I think Tooth is like, I mean, I've done that a couple times, and it's just like absurd how it's able to bring these bad cards later back into my deck and make them really, really strong because I have found the combo pieces. But yeah, Thomas definitely referenced a very good point. Is sometimes you want to upgrade your 5 most pivotal cards, but you can't do that because then you'll just lose in the first hallway fight. But 5 upgrades is a lot of upgrades, and so I don't know. I don't know if I feel like it's a C tier. I'd probably put it in B tier. Would I? I really
I
like
think
Pael's
it's worse
Flesh.
than
I like Pael's Flesh
Flesh
more than
personally.
where. I really like Pael's Flesh. Maybe I just a sucker for Pael's Flesh. So to me, it doesn't feel like on a tier of Pael's Flesh. But I don't know.
I really
Low
like
B
Pael's.
tier, high C tier. Yeah.
I think Thomas nailed the dynamic perfectly. I feel good with C. I For me, it's been best when I have just taken out like 2 defends and 2 or 3 of my good cards. Took like upgraded defends are really nice. 1-8 is a lot better than 1-5. So, but also, I'm not playing the 1-5, so I can often remove those and get a few of the cards I actually want upgraded. But yeah, I think C feels right to me. Pale's Growth, Alex. Upon pickup, enchant a card with Clone. This allows you to duplicate every card with Clone on it at a rest site. What tier do you put it?
What a funny relic this is. I have encountered it, I think twice. And it's only broken when you have a broken card, which maybe you should think about. That's something to think about when you're picking up cards. Maybe I should pick up that Perfected Strike just in case I get the Clone Relic from Pael. Think things of that nature. But the 2 times I picked it up, I'm like, yeah, I think this is an okay card to put it on. And I like put it on, and I'm like, yeah, that should be okay. But then because I have to like spend these rest sites duplicating the card, and I don't get an immediate power up because it's not one of these other relics, I just like haven't found success with this relic at all. I know it can lead to the most broken, busted things you've seen in the game. That's hilarious, and you're playing like hundreds of big bangs or whatever, stuff like that. But to me, this is like I mean, maybe because of that upside, it's not a D tier and should instead be put in C tier. So I'll say C tier.
This relic drives me crazy because it never shows up in my pool. I've wanted to try it. I've wanted to test with it. I swear I've only seen it once, and I took it that one time, and I got it on a card that was crazy good for it, and then I didn't rest when I should have and died. So, but everything, I agree with pretty much everything Alex said. Can lead to the most busted states, but yeah.
Yeah, I would
Normally,
put it below
is it?
Tooth.
I
Put
think
some
I'd put
respect on Tooth's name.
nah.
I
Like,
think. But go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
and the other issue is like you gotta skip that upgrade, and like if the card you want to duplicate isn't upgraded yet, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
do I spend a campfire upgrading, and then it's not till the next campfire that I get a benefit, and that benefit
And
is
you only get a
one
second
of the
copy. It's
card.
so slow. You get one
Yeah,
more copy on the second. You like spend a campfire upgrade.
and
You
so then
spend a
you get to
second
the
campfire. Yeah.
third campfire and you get 2 copies, right? And but I had to not rest any of those campfires, right? It's kind of, uh, but I want to play with it more because it looks really fun. It doesn't show up enough. Thomas,
Worse than Tooth. Yeah, Thomas.
do you think it's worse than Tooth?
I think my brother-in-law played this in like 2,000 cards in his deck or something. Get by the final boss. Anyway, it can be. It's very situational. I think is what you guys have been saying pretty much. Is in very specific situations you win the game. In other situations, you want to see any other relic that he has to offer. So I mean, C seems okay just because it is overpowered in certain situations, but most of the time you're going to pass up on it.
Do you
Yeah,
have
Better or
I
worse
don't
than
think I've ever
Tooth?
picked it
Tooth's
up.
name, Thomas?
What?
Do you have respect on Tooth's name, or do you think it's better than Tooth?
I've never picked this one up. I've picked up the tooth, so I don't know if that. I think it deserves to be above it just because it can be game breaking.
Ah. Okay, fine. Whatever.
The fact that it can be game breaking causes it to.
Yeah, I
I don't know. You
guess.
can even, in my mind, you can even move it up to B tier, just because it can be game breaking, and could also just be terrible. But But
It
like you
can't,
would never
it's
pick it if
just
it's gonna be
the
terrible.
game-breaking scenarios are just so rare that it's just like, yeah, I don't know.
Pael's Blood, Thomas. At the start of your turn, draw one additional card. So every single turn, you have hands of 6 instead of hands of 5.
I know where you want to put this. E tier. No. Yeah. No.
It's so bad, we just don't do
No. I'm sure you want to put this in S tier or something. Having an additional draw card, is it? Wait, the first turn of every combat or every turn?
Every turn.
That is really good. Having that additional card can really change things. I would say like it doesn't like increase the strength of your deck. It just increases the probability that your deck will do better, right? And I don't know how much it improves that probability.
Let's
I
say
don't think it's
20%.
just consistency.
You don't think it's just
20% more draw, 20% more output. Maybe. Something like that.
Consistency is one of the things it does, but it also lets you build your deck a bit differently because now you can have more like energy gaining cards. I think energy gain and draw are kind of like a balance because if you draw extra cards, you can now spend more of that energy gain. So it just lets you build a different deck than you could without it. But where would you put it, Thomas?
I don't like it as much as you do. In between the flesh and the skin or whatever that thing is.
Pale skin. Oh, that's his wing. He doesn't have skin. I would say it's A tier. It's really nice. I like it. Nothing crazy about the way it works, besides the fact that it lets me take more energy producing cards. Um, um, but,
Yeah, yeah, I think it's A tier as well. I think obviously card draw is just really good in general. I think I'm struggling to come up with why I like Iron Club so much, and this one I'm not also immediately putting up into S tier like I tried to do with Iron Club when we reviewed tanks. And I don't know if I have really an answer. I mean, you could argue that Iron Club is commonly more than, depending on your deck, I suppose, but commonly more than one card draw per turn, versus this is strictly one card draw per turn. But that being said, yeah, I mean, I think A tier is a good place to put it. It's kind of weird because it doesn't feel like all that much of a power boost, but I think you'd be surprised at how much one additional card can do per turn.
I feel good about them. I think it's my turn. I said that Pale's Tears, this one right here, might be one of the most challenging skill testing relics. Pale's Eye leaves in the dust. It says the first time each combat you end your turn without playing cards, exhaust your hand and take an extra turn. I forget about this relic literally every time I pick it up. Literally, I'm like 3 floors later and I haven't used it once. I think it is the best relic on the character. I think it's S tier, but I always forget about it. So it definitely hasn't produced S tier results for me. But the fact that whenever your hand bricks, you can skip it, the fact that you get to exhaust some portion of your not great cards, the fact that you you just get this effect that lets you skip a hand whenever you want it, I think provides a ton of consistency and a ton of value to your deck.
Yeah, yeah, I think I agree. I think similarly, my instinct says, especially the first time I read this, I was just like, that is absurdly broken. And I still feel that, even though Similarly to Joseph, the number of floors that I've just forgotten this relic exists. And it just, but to be fair to myself, sometimes my deck is just good enough where I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I only took a few damage. So it's just like, I did fine without it, but I think I could have avoided that scenario and done even better if I played with it better. It is a very skill intensive, knowing exactly like, oh, should I skip this turn? Like, I need more defense cards because I have none, but this is also exhausting one of my best cards. Like, how does that fit into the equation? Are really interesting questions it asks you. And yeah, I feel like my experience with it is slightly worse than where I would put it, which is S tier.
It's so fun. It's definitely played so much worse than that because I just forget about it every time.
But I'm pretty sure it's broken. I'm pretty sure.
I've never picked it up. I don't think it's scary. I don't know. It's just like there's definitely been times I'm like, I hate this hand. I wish I had that that relic. I can believe that it would be an S tier. I can believe that it has the potential. But we all are terrible at the game. I'll lump you guys in with me because it makes me feel better about myself.
Lump me in for this relic, man. Oh man, lump me in for this relic.
And I want to chuck out a whatever to the utility of exhausting cards. I mean, obviously exhausting your bad cards is good, but also specifically Aeon Glass is now in main branch, and Aeon Glass is a hard boss. And Aeon Glass gives you lots of statuses that start doing a lot of damage to you. Being able to exhaust those is really nice. So in that combat specifically, which is a combat, a hard combat that you should be thinking about, this is, I feel like, great in that combat because it exhausts some of those statuses. So that's something I just wanted to note about it.
That's a great thing to know. And then gives you another turn. Yeah, you don't sacrifice anything to do that big exhaust. Okay, Pael's Legion. I've lost track of whose turn it is. I think it's Alex. Double block gained from a card, then goes to sleep for 2 turns. So every 3rd turn, the first block card you play has its block doubled, unless you choose not to play a block card on that turn, in which case it will stay active until you do.
Are you sure it's every 3rd turn?
Goes to sleep for 2 turns. That's what this says. Is it going to sleep for the end of this turn and then the next one?
I believe so.
Sometimes,
yeah. So it's every other turn you get 1 card that's double block. I'm pretty
cards
confident
read like that in Slay the Spire. Like a Panic Button makes it sound like you can't get defense for more turns than it actually is, because it says 3 turns or something, but one of the turns is the turn you play Panic Button.
Yeah, this is every other turn. And I feel like, I mean, we can look at, it's kind of funny to compare it to a random rare power from Ironclad, but a movable, the first card each turn you get double block from. And I think that card's absurdly broken and can just win runs when I really just think it's really, really strong. This does it on half the turns. Obviously, you don't have to set it up, though, compared to Unmovable. I've had great experiences with this relic. I am uncertain if it's the power level of S tier, but I would put it on A tier somewhere. I think is probably how I'm feeling. I feel like all those relics, when I look at those, they all feel, yeah, similar. Yeah, right there feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently I've been misreading this relic for a while now. I remember it feeling really good the last time I took it, but I've been like, okay, every 3rd turn, should I take Goopy Defends or every 3rd turn? No,
to be fair,
good. I think it's really good. I think it's
if
better
we,
than Goopy Defense.
I thought it was every 3rd turn, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've taken it and not liked it. Like it just doesn't do enough for me. / I always use it accidentally on my bad defend, or it's like, wait, I only need to defend a little bit this turn. I want to save it for next turn, but I can't because I still need to defend this turn.
And so it's like situation, like not situation, but like there's a skill thing to it, but it's just like it's painful sometimes that I can't use it when I want to. Anyways, those are some of my thoughts. I've never had much success with it, so I would
Yeah,
put
I
it.
think that's
What tier would you put
sorry.
it in, Thomas?
I mean, I'd probably put it in B, but you guys really like it, so.
No, I feel like you've definitely made me remember the downsides to it, though. I think your thought was really good and feeling bottom of A instead of top of A. I specifically exactly what you said, where some turns I'm like, well, I would love to save this for next turn, but I can't just tank 10 damage here. Like, I still need a block. I guess specific scenarios, it could still save you energy in those cases, which is good. But yeah, no, those scenarios definitely come up and come up often. So I still think it's quite strong and worthy of A tier, but bottom of A tier feels good.
Well, this list looks really good to me. Go get goopy, everybody. Whatever.
Is that what we're ending it on?